Happy Workers Day, everyone. So, Game 7 of the Golden State Warriors versus Sacramento Kings series. The most exciting series, in my opinion, from the round one of these playoffs. I don't know what your best series was, but I mean, it's not just because I was a Warriors fan. I think it was because of how close it was. Right up until Game 6 and Game 7, we never really had blowout games. I think Game 1 was a 3 point game. Game 2 was an 8 point game. Game 3, I don't remember. I think, yeah, that was a double digit loss game. Game 4, the Warriors won by 1 point. Game 5, so it was up until game 6 and 7 we had blowouts, but every other game was close, right? Especially game 4. Wow, especially game 4. So game 7, I didn't see the series getting to game 7. I thought it was going to end at game 6. I mean, prior to even the playoffs starting, I thought it would be a six game series rather, right? But then Sacramento happened in game 6. Warriors couldn't close out at Chase Center, and we have game 7. Steph Curry put on a monster performance. So I'm going to, yeah, before getting to Steph Curry, shout out to Looney. Played very well. Many people are not going to speak about this, but then Looney had, I think, 106 rebounds across this series. He had 106 rebounds and I think about 30 assists thereabout. He was very instrumental for the Warriors. Outside of Steph, I think he was the one person that remained consistent through each game for his particular role. Right, he's not a scorer. He's more of a defensive and rebounding guy. So he's not a scorer. Right, every other person was a little bit inconsistent. Clay didn't shoot well, particularly in the first half of this game 7. I think he was 1 of 10. Poole, um, Draymond wasn't so consistent throughout the series, but Looney and Steph, I think they were the most consistent players in their roles, right? In their roles. So don't come telling me Looney didn't score a lot of points. He was never really a scorer, right? In their roles, Looney is more of a rebound person, right? So he did very well. And to put things in perspective, against the best rebounder from the regular season, I know Looney was the best offensive rebounder, but Domas was the best rebounder overall, right? And coming on and having, I think, 3 games with 20 plus rebounds. I mean, that was really good. That was really, really good. He killed them on the glass. I think he averaged about 5 offensive rebounds. Um, he averaged about 5 offensive rebounds. I'll be releasing a video later about what's everything that got through the round one of this playoffs got right, and I think I spoke a little bit about Looney in that video. I've already released a video about what the teams who lost got wrong, right, and you can watch it. I'm going to put whatever a card, whatever they call it. So Looney did very well in this series, and shout out to him, giving him his flowers. He did very, very well. He knew. I think I was reading an article where he said after each game, whenever he does well, his dad is going to message him like, "Hey son, great game," right? Because for him, he said his dad and his elder brother, they taught him how to rebound the basketball, right? They were not even big on scoring when training him or when watching his games, whatever. They were big on him getting every rebound he could get. So yeah, that's for Looney. And then shout out to Sacramento as well, the first team in, I think, 5 years since the Houston Rockets in 2018 to take the Warriors to a game 7. That's if I'm not mistaken. I think the Houston Rockets were the last team, right? Um, Shout out to them. No one saw this happening, right? Being a third seed in the West, taking the defending champions to a game 7, which I think also highlights James Harden's greatness, because not a lot of teams have taken the Warriors to a game 7 since 2015, right? They were also the first team to have the Warriors down 2-0 since Steph Curry started leading the Warriors. So I think that puts into perspective the fact that they've had a great season. They've had a very, very, very good season, right? Someone may say, "Oh, they hired Mark Brown. He knew what," and the player said it as well. I think Draymond said it after, I think, game 5. They hired Mark Brown, who knew who to a degree knew what the Warriors were going to do, right? It was with them for 6 years, so definitely it's a game of chess. If I know your weakness or if I know your strengths, I'm going to find a way to make your strengths a weakness in a sense, right? So, but shout out to him, shout out to everyone. De'Aaron Fox, I watched his interview after this game, right? He's a young guy, but hats off to him. Hats off to him. He's done really well over the course of this season. I think he may make the All NBA team. Maybe, maybe not. But yeah, Domas as well. So Domas didn't really play well in this series. He didn't really play. He didn't really play well. But that's fine. That's fine. In my opinion, this Kings team have done really well. They had a very great season, just like OKC. OKC had a very great season as well, compared to their standards or compared to where they were last season. So yeah, shout out to OKC. And now to talk about Steph Curry, a 50-point performance in a game seven. I think KD had a 48-point performance against the Bucks, which was also a great game because it was just KD against the Bucks. He had his teammates, but he had lost Kyrie and James Harden, right? So Steph Curry against Sacramento in a season where the Warriors were rumored to have bad road records and everything was against them. I think I did a poll on this channel on who's going to win Game 7, and I think last time I checked, the Kings had most of the votes. I'm going to check it again after this video, but everything was against them, right? The logic was against them, right? They had to win at least one game on the road to win the series, but now they had to win two, right? So Steph Curry 50 points performance, and to just put things in perspective, I was watching Draymond's podcast this morning, and yes, I love listening to Draymond because obviously he's playing in this game, so he's going to share perspectives or share views of things that just regular media pundits may not see or may not see, right? I listen to pundits as well, but I love listening to him, right? To get a player view analysis of the game. And Draymond said after they lost game six, he had sent a text to Steph Curry and Klay Thompson at 3 a.m. saying he couldn't sleep, that he just finished watching the tape again. I think the tape of game six, and Steph responded to him at 6 a.m. and he couldn't sleep as well, but that he should let him speak to the team before they watch the tapes. I think that's what they call it, the tapes, right, from previous games. And he said Steph Curry delivered a very powerful speech, right, basically telling the team that, look, we messed up in game six. If you're going to get on this bus and travel with us, then just basically I'm going to paraphrase, but make sure you leave everything on the court. I didn't see this coming. I think there were only two people I know who saw this coming and spoke about it, right? Hoop Reports and Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith had said when he was asked who what's his predictions are for Game 7, Sacramento Kings or the Golden State Warriors, and Stephen A. Smith was like, he said Steph Curry. I'm going to insert that video. I'm going to insert that video, a clip from that video.
Going to come out on top of the Kings and the Warriors matchup is what, sir?
Is Steph Curry. Game sevens are what superstars are made for. That is the bottom line. This is the greatest shooter God has ever created. The greatest shooter on the planet Earth.
I didn't see this coming, but Steph put on an absolute monster performance, right? And I mean, they gave him his flowers, right? After the game or during the game, Chris Busada tweeted top 10 player of all time, right? No questions, right? I'm not big on rankings and stuff like that because those things are subjective, right? But people are claiming that, oh, we should have the conversation on the fact that Steph is the greatest point guard of all time. And I mean, I'm not so bothered about those rankings because I know who I like and I know who is my favorite player. And it's Steph Curry, right? It's not Michael Jordan, it's not LeBron James, it's Steph. I respect these other guys. I like them. I do like LeBron James and a couple of other people. I like KD as well, but Steph is my favorite, right? So I'm not about to say, oh, top 10 all time and all of that. But then people always bash Steph for winning 2 rings with KD. Of the top 12 players in most people's list of all time, I don't think any one of them won a championship without another top 75 player in their team. Michael Jordan had Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman. And remember, Dennis Rodman had 2 championships already before he played with Michael Jordan. LeBron James won 2 of his championships with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar had Magic Johnson for 5 of his championships. Magic Johnson had Kareem for all 5 of his championships. And someone will say Kareem was not at his prime for all of them, and that's okay. But it's not like Steph won all of his championships with KD on the team. Magic had Kareem for like in his prime for like 3 of his championships, if I'm not mistaken. Tim Duncan had Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker, I think. Kobe Bryant had Shaq for 3 of his championships, and I can go on and on and on and on and on, right? So the notion that Steph is not as great as he is because he had KD for 2 of his championships, I don't think it makes sense. I don't think it makes sense. I think it's just people trying to say things to suit their arguments. Look, if you need another great player to win your championships, come on, go for it. If KD needs Devin Booker and Chris Paul to win his 3rd championship, then go for it. I'm not big on all of these things. Now, moving on to the fact that the Warriors will be playing the Lakers in the semifinals. Steph versus LeBron. First time meeting in the playoff series in what? Again, 5 years. Round 5, according to people. I think this matchup is going to have almost more ratings than any matchup in this playoff series, unless for some reason KD gets out of the series with the Nuggets, which I'll talk about later. Unless for some reason KD gets out of the series with the Nuggets and then he gets to play against Steph or LeBron in the Western Conference Finals, then that's also going to be, a whole lot of narratives, right? And yeah, the media is going to milk every single one of these matchups. In the case KD gets out of the Sun series, he's definitely going to meet Steph or LeBron. He's definitely going to meet Steph or LeBron. And there's going to be a narrative for each one. KD versus LeBron or KD versus Steph. There's going to be a narrative for everyone. And I really do look forward to this series. Like I said, I do like LeBron. I do want Steph to get out of this series, but whichever team wins, I think the Lakers winning would be very much dependent on the fact that they're able to play the way they played in Game 6, right? I don't want to say Game 3, but Game 6 against the Grizzlies. A couple of the both games the Lakers lost against the Grizzlies, they didn't look very serious. Game 5 and I think Game 2, they did not look very serious. So if they're able to stay locked in and play the way they played in Game 6, yeah, it's going to be a very interesting series. I would love to see what Draymond and Looney could do versus Anthony Davis, who, when he's locked in, is a monster, right? He's a very good player. He's very good at rebounding. He's very good at defense. And he's huge, right? So even if you're very good like a Draymond, right? The fact that he's huge gives him an advantage over you. Their passes, I think in one of those games, one of the Memphis games, I think there was a pass LeBron threw to Anthony Davis, and it was so high up the court, and Reggie Miller said something. But I think it was in the playing games. Reggie Miller said there was only one man in this arena that could catch that pass, right? So LeBron knew that, and he threw a very high pass to Anthony Davis. So yeah, his size, if he's able to take advantage of his size, I think it's just overall it's going to be a very good series. And I look forward to it. I look forward to it, and I think it begins tomorrow on Wednesday for people in Nigeria. But then, yeah, I look forward to that series. I think, yeah, I look forward to that series. The Nuggets versus the Suns. I did not watch the game live, but then I watched the replay on the NBA app on Sunday. Yeah, that series, I think what the Suns got wrong was their defense. They seemed like, apart from KD, who had about, I think, 4 blocks or so, every other person did not seem like they were interested in defending. Just from the eye test of it, every other person did not seem like they were ready to play defense, right? KD tried his best. He shot very well. The entire Suns team shot very well. what did not happen is they did not take a lot of shots. So it wasn't a case of they shot 30% from the field or 40% from the field. It was a case of they shot about 50%. I don't know for the whole team. I think KD shot about 50%, and they shot very well. But because of the Nuggets defense, they couldn't take a lot of shots, right? They couldn't take a lot of shots, and that's what put them out of the game. Jamal Murray was very good. In the video, yeah, in the video I'm going to post later about what happened right for everything that got out of the round one. I had said that Jamal Murray and MPJ coming back takes off the offensive load from Jokic, right? He doesn't have to be the leading scorer. Like, he wasn't the leading scorer in this game. I think Murray had 36 points, Jokic had 24, Aaron Gordon had 23. I think Michael Porter Jr. had 11 points. He's been a little bit inconsistent with his scoring through this series. Murray has been a little bit more consistent, and Jokic has been doing what Jokic does: rebounding, facilitating the offense, scoring, but not having that offensive load to be the leading scorer anymore. And I think that makes them very dangerous. Everybody played well for the Nuggets. They scored very well and very efficiently as well. I think there was a point in time, Cadwell Pope, I think that's his name. He scored about 2 or 3 straight 3 pointers. So it's the Nuggets played very well. Their offense flowed very well. They they played very good defense as well. Rebounding, I mean, they outplayed the Suns. They outplayed the Suns, and if the Suns have any chance of winning this series, because KD and Booker would score points, right? Definitely, but you have to be willing to play defense. You have to be willing to play defense. If you're not willing to play defense and you want to make it a shootout game, I don't really think you stand a chance against the Nuggets. So that really was it for the Nuggets game. I think, yeah, from what I saw on the eye test and looking at the stat sheet as well, that was really well worked for them. And if they're able to do the same thing, right? Play smart defense, play smart offense, get in transition, um, get their matchups right, get their switches right, and all of that, they just may take this series from the Suns. But then, I mean, it's a best of seven series. It's the first person to win 4 games, not the first person to win 1 game. So hopefully, yeah, get to see more from. And hopefully the Suns are able to make adjustments, because it's just 1 game, right? The winner of game one does not always go on to win the series. It only becomes scary when it's a 2-0 or 3-0 lead, right? So I think Monty Williams will be able to make adjustments. The team as well. KD will be able to know what spots to play and how to get to his spots to make it shot. I mean, they have very good scorers, so I don't think offensively they have a problem, right? I don't think offensive. Apart from the Celtics last year, not many teams have been able to like hold hold KD from scoring, right? Because he's not overly reliant on the type of shots. He's not overly reliant on the mid range or the 3 point shots or catch and shoots or dunking or layups or whatever. He's not overly reliant on every one of them. He's very good at scoring from any place on the floor, right? So the same thing with Devin Booker, although I think KD is a better scorer than Devin Booker, obviously. So yeah, I did not get to watch the Miami Heat versus Knicks series. I think I was following up on the box score while the game was going on. The Knicks were leading up until the second half, I think, and then the Miami Heat took over. It wasn't, yeah, no one. I think the highest score on each team was 25 by Jimmy Butler, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, again, I think the Knicks defense played well, but I mean they lost the game. So again, it's the first to win 4 games. So the Heat are leading, and definitely they have the advantage. But then, yeah, we'll get to see as the games proceed. I'm not sure the games that we have for today or tonight, but then I'll take a look at them. So yes, I really do hope the playoffs just gets crazier from this point forward. I do hope the round one was not the best part of the playoffs. I just hope it gets crazier from this point forward. So yes, have a great day, everyone. So if you enjoyed this video, kindly like, subscribe, but most importantly, leave a comment down below and click on any of these cards on the right to watch other videos I think you would find interesting.